This is Fam Electric Ghost. We're live on air with Wes Towers for the first time. Welcome to the Fam Electric Ghost podcast. How you doing tonight?
Fantastic, Phantom. It's actually my morning here in Melbourne, so coming to you from the other side of the planet. So
I can
that's
see
cool.
that. It's like in New Hampshire. It's dark outside, but
Yeah.
But we want to welcome you to the show. We're going to talk about a bunch of things today. One of the things we're going to focus on is standing out in a tough economy, positioning and offers for local search moves that will win in the marketplace. We're going to talk about that. And we've got your website there. Our QR code right now is for people who want to figure out how to be on Podmatch and connect with the host and guests. So if you scan that, you'll figure out an opportunity for that. So you can scan that. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to seg over to your QR code, which is for Uplift. Now I've actually switched it out, and that is for uplift360.com AU. So if you can scan that, you'll be able to get to that website. And that's where you everybody can find out about everything we're going to talk about tonight.
Fantastic.
In terms of your marketing strategies, right?
Yeah. And just to touch on your Podmatch link, that's a great thing for people to pursue. That's how we've connected, right? So it's a fantastic platform to connect with people globally and have great conversations. It's just been so powerful. I've been a part of it for, I think, 4 months now, and the connections and collaborations, it's a wonderful experience. So I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's like a Tinder for podcast people.
Yeah.
But people get into that place because that's like podcasting is like the big thing. It's like it's getting rid of the old media. Like people like in this space, we're creators, we're entrepreneurs. People get their news from podcasts. It's like it's like the new it's the new newspaper, it's the new TV show, it's the new movie platform. It's like the whole everything about it. But so you run Uplift 360. It's a digital agency for builders and traders, people in the trades. How did you come up with this idea?
Well, I found it by accident to a large degree. I studied graphic design, multimedia, and got into website design back in the year 2000 in my first job in marketing. And I always wanted to start my own business as a creative, as a graphic designer / multimedia. It was a really great fit for me from the visual and the technical aspect. But when website design opportunities came along, it was just perfect. So started my own business in the field and loved it, and didn't really niche into the trades and construction industries right away. I just did anything and everything for everybody that I possibly could. And so over the course of the years, it's been running more than 20 years now, I adapted into the niche that we serve the best, I think. So the majority of our best clients were in a similar space. So we focused in on that, and it's been a good experience.
Cool. So you found you're out there in the world, and then you find your niche. Kind of like, by doing the work, then you find, it's like the law of attraction. You get out there and figure who's vibing with this, who actually needs it, and then you work toward that, right?
Yeah, well, I think that's exactly how it works. So you start creating, and you create movement. A movement sort of creates momentum, and momentum sort of attracts things that are aligned in likeness with it. So I think just getting started sometimes, momentum beats perfection, I always like to say. So we just get started in the creative endeavor that we have. And it's surprising what opportunities pop up just by pursuing the things that you enjoy and love. And other people tend to align with that, or they don't, and that's fine too. But the right people come at the right time, I've found.
Well, that's like the creative kind of thing, being the creative zen, of that space. Is like artists, we throw things at the wall, right? And a lot of times, as you get more permission to yourself, you get more inventive, you get more, you got to go like a Miles Davis. You go from like bebop to fusion, because like over time, it's like, hey, why not push it and then find my niche, or not find my niche and then look for it, and then you're always kind of expanding. So it's interesting that you found the construction companies and the trades were the people that kind of like lined up with your frequency, like they vibed with what you were doing. And then you found like maybe like the competitors, like people who were building websites, mistakes because a lot of times companies, maybe the biggest mistake is they try to build their own, right?
Yeah, true.
Or they
Yeah,
go with like a cookie cutter thing and they think it's going to work, and they really
yeah,
like that's not their wheelhouse. Like if you don't
yeah.
like if something's not your wheelhouse, you're probably not going to do that good in it.
Yeah, so true. I mean, things just become so generic with that. The AI tools, for example, just creating content and information so fast, and it seems good, but it's all the same because all it's doing is pulling in a broad range of information and collating it into a new piece. So there's nothing new or unique or creative, and I really think the future is for the artists who can cut through the
Yeah,
noise of the AI digital landscape that we're living in to stand out. That's the challenge now with so much information out there and production of. I mean, the videos we see through AI. It's
yeah.
it's
Well, it's like
phenomenal.
it's phenomenal what they do, but also there's this thing as like a junk food. It's kind of
Yeah.
like if you the thing about AI, it's better than the Google search.
Mm,
You try it with a prompt, you do prompt engineering, you get this image. And if you're like not an artist and you're not
mm,
really like you haven't gotten into art history, you're not an art appreciation person, you say, well, that looks passable. But
yeah.
if you think about like if you're trying to create like a logo or your brand, going and doing a
Yeah.
prompt engineering that's pulling from like the learning library, like you're not really
Yeah.
going to stand out. You're going to end up getting something
No.
like it's garbage. A computer idea is like garbage in, garbage out. Like so,
Yeah.
like like if you want something unique, an artist is going to give you something unique.
Yeah, well, that's right. They're creative thinkers and look at the world differently, and that's the important thing to not become bland. And you touched on something really interesting too. It is artificial. People need to remember that, and just to look at artificial things in human existence so far. So we've got artificial food, and we know that is not healthy for us. It's never a good.
Yeah,
It's never the ideal food. We create it because it fulfills something in the human nature to crave, sweet things or tasty things, but there's no substance of health in it. So it's really terrible for us for the long term. And I worry in some ways what AI, artificial intelligence, so that fake intelligence, what the potential disastrous things might occur for
yeah.
our health in a different kind of way. So we've got to use these tools to advantage. Of course, in business we do. We've streamlined a whole lot of things to make the processes so much smoother and faster, but there's still our unique processes and so on. So it's our ideas, and we're using it to enhance them and amplify them rather than the other way around,
Well,
getting
it's
the
like a tool.
ideas.
It's like you
Yeah,
talk.
yeah,
You think about a musician. You got these people making AI bands, right?
yeah,
And the thing is, like a musician's always going to point out this, and a painter will point it out too, right? Like
yeah,
a machine is not sentient. It doesn't have heart. It doesn't have the benefit of your pain and your struggles and your happiness, all your emotions. And that
yeah,
like art is inherently in human nature. It is the collection of your human experience, and every artist has their own human experience and their
yeah,
own, and they have their ability to pull in what's outside themselves and what's inside themselves. And it's that
yeah,
synthesis of both that makes it unique. And the machine is only going to pull an amalgamation, like a basically it's a it's just like somebody put together a bunch of cutouts of a magazine, threw it together, and
yeah,
maybe maybe that looks good, but maybe
yeah,
it doesn't have like where was the inspiration? Where did it come from? Right? It
yeah,
came from your prompt engineering. It
yeah,
didn't come from a soul. It didn't come from a heart.
yeah, 100%. And so it's sort of changed the way in which we do business. Obviously, we make websites, we do search engine optimization. We're calling it search everywhere optimization because it's not just Google and search engines anymore. It's large
Everything.
language models that businesses need to be found on, and social media and so many other places. So helping clients in this dynamic world we're living in without losing yourself to the tools and technology. So keeping your own voice and distinct opinions and thoughts and ideas, anything that's genuinely, authentically unique to
Be
you as an
vulnerable.
individual. These,
Yeah.
yeah, the vulnerabilities. These are aspects of what artists naturally do really well. that they'll have a self-exploration sort of aspect to what they're doing. But business people have not really done that. We've been lost in the technical aspect.
Well, lost in the actuarial. I deal with insurance
Yeah.
companies, like the accountants and the
Oh, yeah.
actuaries, like run everything, and it's up to
Yeah.
the creative people to try to sell it through an ad. You try to put
Yeah.
some humor. Insurance companies they're famous for they're going to the artist to create some humoristic ad. But if it's
Yeah.
up to the actuaries, it's all algorithms. It's all numbers. Like
Yeah.
what's our product difference? It's the algorithm versus this guy's algorithm. It's the
Yeah.
calculation versus this guy's rate. Right? How do we get our rate to be more competitive? It's all math. So they're not very
Yeah.
fun people to talk to.
Yeah.
You like math. If you like math, they're fun to talk to.
Yeah. I was talking to a guy just studying his master's for accounting, and he's just looking at what value he can bring to the world. And I mean, the data entry aspect of these things, that's the value in that is going to diminish because the tools will be able to do that kind of stuff fairly.
Oh yeah, that's all
fairly
good.
well.
Yeah. Like the CSR. The CSR doing the data entry is going to go up, but the CSR talking to the client, people prefer talking to a human, because once they realize they're talking to a robot, the level of disgust goes up exponentially.
Yeah. I know. So that ability as a human to be able to bring wisdom, and because they've got experience, and so to make judgment calls and the nuance of information. So those years of experience and intelligence in a real human, the wisdom in it that it can bring, and obviously the creative aspect. They're the things that we need to hold on to so strongly, no matter what our endeavors are right now, whether it be business or creative endeavors. I mean, it's always been true of a painting, for example. So as an artist, we want to know that it was genuinely the artist whose brush hit that canvas.
That's some printer. Is that the printer that did
it? Yeah. That's where the value is. We want to know the backstory and who they are and what part of their story. I studied art history at uni as one of the courses, one of the subjects that I studied. And so it was really the background stories of the artist put so much more weight and substance into the tangible, the piece of art itself. So it was always fascinating to understand art history and to understand who they were. I think that's going to be true in every aspect of life now. We're going to want to know that we're dealing with a human, someone who cares and has a connection, that relationship. I think AI will reveal and expose a whole lot of things in us.
Yeah.
That, we can use it to advantage. And certainly we're helping a lot of clients show up in the right places in the tools in which we can use to be found and trusted. Trust is a massive factor. Trust is being a big
thing. Yeah, they kind of get that. The whole idea is like, how do you get somebody to stand out? How do you get somebody to show up? So, like you deal with construction companies, and maybe if they're not knowing how they stand out, but it seems like today, like the big thing that people have, like their secret sauce, is their individuality or their capability to create individual solutions. So if you're like a construction company, you say, well, we can customize better than this guy, right? We can actually give you what you want, and it's not cookie cutter. Is that like the big differentiation? Like when you're dealing with people in trades, you're dealing with people in constructions, to kind of show who this company is and what they do and why you would want it.
Yeah, definitely. It's all those things, and it's also when you can simplify a message. Simple scales but complex fails is a phrase I like to use. When you can simplify things down to something that people can grasp and understand, then they can make a decision. We're just so rushed these days, and there's just so much overwhelm of information.
Oh yeah.
And when something really resonates because it's targeted precisely to what we need when we need it, that's an easy decision for someone to make. If they're needing a website, for example, and they might jump online and try and find someone who's a good fit, styles that they like. But if they bump into our material, they'll realize, hey, we're specialists, so we know precisely what their industry is about, what's likely going to work for them. We'll still need to have a discussion to understand what nuance and what specifics make them distinct and different in the world. But we know a whole lot of background information that will help us ask the right questions and get to the results a whole lot quicker. It just helps you stand out when you're niched in like we are, and that's why we made the decision to grow into the niche over the course of the years.
So is it like one of the things I noticed is like with companies is that there's a lot of rejection sometimes with the corporate, like the big mega companies, because they always want to they're like one size fits all. They think they can do everything. And then what you find with, like, I used to work in the Fortune 500 companies, and I'm working with a very small kind of startup type of company, and I found it was more satisfying because we can actually, there's less people to talk to. Like, there's like 10 people. And if we get in a room, we make a decision, it gets done. Versus when I was working in the company, it was like 100 people, got to go up the chains, got to go to this, and like things take a long time to get done. They don't move as fast as like somebody who's like really directed, like and passionate. They actually can get it
done. I love it. The most of our clients are founder-led businesses, so the boss is on the tools or in the business and doing some level of work. It depends on how big it is. Sometimes they're still practically in construction. They're on the physical tools. Sometimes they're more of an office-bound leadership role. But it's always exciting to work with this level of company because making a real difference to someone. It might be a family-run business. We're making a real difference to that family. If you can help them grow and expand, and they're employing a bunch of people in their local town or whatever it is. So you're making a significant influence. When we do have a few large clients, but it's a whole different experience. So typically we're working with a department, so a marketing department, and so things are a little different. So it's still valuable and exciting, but it's just not that same exciting.
Yeah, it's not the thing. Like it's like when you if you're dealing with a creator directly, like versus me dealing with the bureaucracy of like an agent. Like if I get somebody on my podcast and I can talk to the artist. Right. Instead of talking to their booker and talking to their agent and talking to their talent rep, well, okay, that's fine. The bigger the person, I have to go through all that artifice. Like when I get to the indie artist, I was like, oh, I'm talking to the artist. It was like, then there's like that kind of close relationship when you're with a smaller company. You're actually talking to the CFO, you're talking to the CEO, you're talking to the founder or the guy that built the company, or the partner. It's like right there, and it's like, well, I have to go ask the committee. I have to ask the steering committee, like, what can we do? What can we do? It's like, wait, like, when are we gonna know? When they tell me.
And the thing that businesses can learn also from artists is the storytelling aspect. I mean, depends on the medium, of course, but artists are generally good at telling some form of story, whether it be through a visual or music. I mean, I was just down listening to some live music on Sunday, and the singer, I've listened to him lots and lots of times, but this time, for whatever reason, he chose to give a little bit of a backstory to every song before he sang it, which is just wonderful, just to understand the context of where it was at and the vulnerability he shared of where things were at that time of his life and so on. It was really, really cool. I think there's going to be elements of that coming into business as AI almost attempts to perfect or clean up or synthesize things digitally. So I think there'll be more and more businesses try to find a humanized angle.
Yeah, I think there's already like a kind of a backlash in terms of the sheen that it puts on it, because I've run into this with musicians, like using like digital audio workstations versus like going directly to tape or multi-track or playing something organically, right? So like there's a lot of pressure to be perfect. So in the pressure to be perfect with the tools musicians have today, they can go in and change every single note in their tool. Versus in the old world, like I'm a child in the 70s, you put something down, you played the 3 minutes. You played that bass for 3 minutes. You played the drum for 3 minutes. If there's a micro timing error, you either left it in or you replayed it. right?
Yeah.
Where you took the tape and you spliced it, but you
Yeah.
physically had to
Yeah.
do something, right? Now you just go on the grid and you just move it around and you change it and you make it perfect, but they lose the fact that, like a paintbrush, once you make that choice to actually put it on the canvas, it's on the canvas. You might want to layer it to kind of hide it or let it
Yeah.
stand out or whatever, but like you made a decision. And
Yeah.
sometimes today it's like people can like get rid of that so quickly that they kind of do. They are they learning from their demos? You know, are they learning from their
Yeah.
mistakes, or are they trying to be so perfect that they like you never even realize what you're learning?
Yeah. I mean, I'll show my age and the music that I used to listen to, but I love the Nirvana back in the day because it was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
so
so pop, yeah,
real and yeah, that real tangible
punk
substance. I
aesthetic.
mean,
Kind of
sometimes
a
things
punk
kind of
aesthetic, kind of like the Clash. It was
yeah,
kind of a return to the feeling that the Clash and the Sex Pistols and the Ramones
yeah,
had, to try to bring that back in an age where you had like a lot of corporate bands. Like you had
yeah,
actually
all that
corporate
pop
bands
sort
coming
of,
in and creating these kind of
yeah,
corporate control bands that like that's not real, right? And then
yeah,
people
the
like Kurt
80s.
Cobain and Eddie Vedder, they felt real.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because we had all that glam rock before then with the big permed hair and the all
Yeah,
that
yeah,
kind
the
of
hair
stuff.
bands coming out of Los Angeles. You had like Rad and Motley Crue and all these guys. Yeah, some
Yeah,
of them weren't exactly that; they were something else. But
some
they
of
were
them were
trying to be like the Stones.
talking.
But the idea of the punk aesthetic was that if you
Yeah,
had heart or passion, if you were like Joe Strummer, if you were like Johnny Lydon or
yeah,
Joey Ramone, right? You didn't have to have perfect pitch. You didn't have to be Jimmy Page. You didn't have to be, like a
yeah,
Led Zeppelin level or Boston level. You didn't have to be like this perfect musician that you can't, like, yes, you can't. Like, there was a point in the 70s where people got so, there was way beyond what the fan could ever do. When punk
yeah,
and grunge is like, maybe I could do that, you know?
yeah,
Maybe like that feeling is like I have some of that pain and I can actually hear it in the singer's voice and it relates to me. It's more relatable, I think.
yeah. Yeah, so we've got to find ways to do that in other areas of life as AI is sort of taking us over and giving us this false image. And there is real resistance to it now, as you've touched on. So, I mean, my daughter, she's only 13, but she'll realize when something's AI created, whether it
Yeah,
be.
when there's some kind of sheen about it. Like I was watching like a Japanese like swept, what Spirited Away versus like an AI generated short I saw. And again, you can really see when you look at like classic anime or hand drawn,
Yeah, yeah,
Disney
true.
Disney animation. We're gonna watch a Popeye
Yeah,
cartoon, watch a Warner Brothers cartoon from the 30s, 40s,
yeah,
right? There's something about
yeah,
the painted backgrounds, the hand drawn animation. It's like, I think the director of Spirited Away said, AI doesn't have a soul. It's like that's terrible.
mm,
That's destroying art. I think he said something like it destroys art.
yeah, and it's eroding attention spans as well. We're living on TikTok and so on, and particularly with kids. I mean, you can only consume a piece of content for 30 seconds before they scroll to the
Yeah,
next. I
yeah.
mean, a
Because
lot of the,
I'm a
yeah,
child of the '70s. I mean, I grew up with vinyl, and so
yeah, yeah. I have
I'm
to listen
still
to the whole album. Yeah, this not just jump around from song to song.
in
And
the
you
playlist.
could set up there was thought behind where the songs go in the album because they all formed a full album, but no one listens to full albums anymore.
Yeah, that's
It's
the thing is like I think you miss an artist's complete thought if you don't listen to an album. Like if you just get the song off the playlist, you have no idea. It's out of context. And then you see
yeah,
people like, if you watch a movie from the 70s or 60s, a lot of people, young
yeah,
people today, they don't have the patience to watch a movie
yeah,
from that time because the pacing is very slow. And a lot of
yeah,
times people today, they're like they're watching movies multiple times because like they're on their phone, they're on their iPad, they maybe have a PS5 going, and then they're not getting the context of the movie, and even the writers and directors, how much subtext are they putting into the movie? Because they
yeah,
like you wonder how many Easter eggs are they putting in because like people aren't really watching them.
yeah. That's right. Yeah, they won't get the reveal because they won't get the full context and story.
Yeah, so
It's
you're like
yeah, I was having dinner.
it's crazy.
Yeah, having dinner last night with a couple of ladies who work in TV, and so they're putting together a show episodes. It's been running for many seasons. I can't remember what the show was called, but an episode is 2 hours, and they were saying how TV series don't have 2 hour episodes anymore. This is a relic of the past because
That's
it's been
old. That's an old like a
a long,
Columbo,
long time.
like an old Columbo
Yeah,
episode that used to go like an hour and a half. You know.
yeah. So it's crazy. So to think that a TV show could be 2 hours now, it's just ridiculous. I mean, maybe they're 20 minutes once you have commercials and so on in there. I'm not sure. I don't watch a lot of TV, but just it's an interesting world we're living in. It's exciting and terrifying in a whole lot of ways. But we've just got to make the most of the opportunities and not lose our soul.
Yeah, 'cause I think a lot of times people today are are the like people are like, how do I get found? Like, is SEO? Am I behind the times?
Yeah,
Because like people are
yeah,
like, oh, these tags are the tags even doing anything? With the way the
yeah,
AI is working, and the way the search engines and the algorithms are working, like
yeah,
what worked 2 years ago, 5 years ago, if you're still doing that, that's not really working.
yeah. We do a lot of that stuff for clients, and so it does change so fast. So SEO, search engine optimization. So for people listening, that's just an attempt to rank as highly as you can, show up in Google for the phrases you want to show up for. So it might have been for, in our world, plumber Melbourne, and then have a bunch of these phrases, get traffic to the website, get some sales out of that. But these days, there's less reason to click through to a website because the answer is right there in Google, the Google AI overview. So you still need to produce the content to show up in the AI overview and get the brand recognition, and so start to build that trust, and so people can make a buying decision. But the moving parts and the nature of how we interact online, it just certainly keeps us on our toes, and we're getting some great results for clients, but it just we just keep needing to adapt to the latest thing.
Yeah, because it keeps on shifting all the time. Because I mean, if you're on Instagram, you're noticing like what worked last week doesn't work this
Yeah,
week.
yeah,
It's like what
yeah,
you it keeps on shifting all the time. You keep on having to oh, I just figured it out and now they shifted it again. Um
yeah,
and then it seems like and then there's the people get into this trap, like if you get a lot of views, right? But there's no engagement. Like if you
yeah,
get like a million views, but how many people really engaged? How many people actually clicked on it? And then if they clicked on it, did they actually put their contact information in? Did they actually push the button to buy something? Right? Did they actually do it? Like you can get a lot of people like looking at it, but they actually are not engaged. So if
yeah.
you can get your commitment rates and the conversion rates, so how do you go into that level?
Yeah, absolutely. We look at all of that, but in simple terms, our strategy is pretty clear and hasn't changed for a long time now. And it's for all the social media platforms, the goal for us is to get people off social media. And where
Mhm.
do we want them? Into the website. And so, what's the goal of the website? Well, the goal of the website is to get them off the website and into a human conversation.
Oh,
Because
get an
for
appointment
our
with
clients,
a real person.
yeah, yeah. So everything for us is geared around attracting people, and it's kind of like fishing. You're fishing out there to catch some conversations, but realistically, you want those human face-to-face contacts. For our clients, they're not selling cheap widgets. You know, if you're selling a
Yeah.
$5 widget, you just sell that online without a human connection. But if you're selling something of substance and it's a bigger decision, typically you'll need a conversation with a real human to ask the questions you need to and make sure it's perfectly what you need, and so on, that consultation. So that's
So you're
our
trying
world.
to
So
get
whilst we're using all the digital tools, but they're all geared around getting people off
trying to
the
get that like my father was a insurance sales agent, right? He had to physically go out, cold call, show at somebody's doorstep after like looking up like how many people actually have just purchased a home. You know,
yes,
getting these
yeah,
lists from people who just graduated from college, and you had all these ways of figuring out how to get to that person, right? And then show up at their doorstep, right?
yeah,
And you show up like at the diner. Go to meet them
yeah,
at the diner, meet them at the coffee shop, meet them at the golf course. It's like you found ways to actually get that face-to-face
Yeah.
conversation so you could have a talk about what is it that you need. Like, what do you want? What's your vision?
Yeah.
What are you trying to do? In that case, it's like retirement or financial planning.
Yeah.
But like you're trying to get to that sales advisor or the person who's gonna get that first contact and say, what does this client want? From
Yeah.
this company. And can you put those two people together? Can you get the person who needs something with the person who's selling something? So you got the supply and demand connected.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good way of thinking about business as well, to think about what are they doing and where are they at before they need your thing that you're selling. So, I mean, for us, it might be, so we do websites and optimization, all that kind of stuff. So every new business needs a website. So if we were to figure out a way to find out where the new businesses are getting registered and so on, well, that would be a good stream of inquiries. It just depends on things. You've always got to think about how you fit into the broader picture for the audience
funnel.
that you're trying to attract. So none of us are individuals, stand out, separate from everything else that's happening in the world and people's lives. So we've got to find our place and know where we fit in the bigger picture.
Yeah, it is interesting. Like storytelling is the big thing. Like when I've talked
Yeah.
to a lot of salespeople, it's like if you can tell the story, and like the story of why, you know, like
Yeah.
who are you? I'm going to listen to listening skills, listen to what your client, the story they tell, and then tell them a story that's going to fit what they've told you. They tell you something about themselves, and then if you're a good listener, he's like, oh, I'm going to weave a story that's going to answer some questions or intrigue this person because they just told me something that's a little nugget. And if I
Yeah.
actually focus on that nugget and kind of feed it back to them, and then they're like, oh, there's some familiarity or there's some connection, then suddenly then you're having a conversation. And it's not just
Exactly right. I mean, yeah, the story. To talk about storytelling, I published a blog post about it. It was just a random thought that I had at the time, and I was blogging a lot. It was probably 10 years ago now. Might be more. And it's just a simple little blog, a few ideas about using storytelling in business. But the local, we've got two major newspapers in Melbourne, and one of them picked up my blog post and said, "Hey, that's really interesting. We're going to run a story about storytelling." And I said, "Oh, great. Well, what do you need from me?" And so on. And I got featured in quite a large piece in the Herald Sun, which is the newspaper. So, I mean, it really did reveal to me a couple of things in that. It made me think more deeply about storytelling. It was just an off the chance blog post with a few ideas.
Yeah.
But it got me really thinking about it. Oh, there's something here that people are like a yearning for it. So from that point on, I really dug deeper into the storytelling, and I obviously got the benefit of being in the paper about it. But I thought this is something that people aren't really touching on as much as they could, because if they found me with just an off-cuff blog post, the benefits might be something. There might be some real gold in there. So that was really interesting time. 15 years, something like that
That's
ago.
interesting. Yeah. Because I think that's why like podcasting, I think is like why a lot of businesses have decided to actually create their own podcast or go on a podcast because
Yeah.
there was this time where people were doing infomercials or do TV commercials, but like TV isn't really, I don't know how TV's work in Australia versus the US, but TV is kind of like a dying medium in the US to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And you have to target it where it works. It works in some places. There's still a market there, but everybody's moving toward digital, moving toward these type of forms like podcast and live like type of opportunities on the net. Because I think like the storytelling you're telling, like if people feel like this is a conversation, it's not an infomercial, it's not a scripted thing. Like if you have an hour-long conversation, but it feels like is that an actor? Is that a real person? It's like, does that, because if it doesn't feel authentic, then you're like, well,
so
they're going to like drop it.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of, there's a resistance to the mainstream media a little bit too, and I think for good reasons. I don't think they're always as honest as they probably should be. I mean, I don't want to get too
Yeah.
conspiracy sort of focused, but we all know that they're not necessarily telling us what's true or in our best interest all of the time. So that's why we're looking for other sources of information and content, and something that seems true and real and authentic. And it's not so, maybe it's not so polished. I mean, certainly I'm not like a professional speaker or anything like that. And
Yeah, because there was
we're
a
just talking
time
about a few
where
ideas.
when you had to have an actor, right,
Yeah,
or somebody, a professional marketing person, that you got this etiquette. And now
yeah,
what we've gone for is like, the big news companies, they had these big sets, they had the big budgets, and now
yeah,
people would rather get news from somebody sitting in their bedroom,
yeah,
like even big newscasters. They used to be
yeah,
on CNN are doing
yeah,
shows from their house with their
yeah. I
dogs
know.
next to them, and people would rather see like that newscaster that used to be on CNN in his
Mm,
own house with his dog running around or his cat running around behind him. They feel like now whatever he says, they buy into it more because like well, he's sitting in his house. He's
yeah,
not in a big set
absolutely.
in New York or in LA. He's actually talking from the house. It's like so. I think that's what people are like. That fact is like it feels like he's just having a conversation with you.
Yeah, exactly right. The authentic feeling of it is just so powerful, and yeah, it's just that's why I love podcasting as well, just to talk to people, meet them, have different perspectives and so on, and people all around the world around all sorts of different topics and so on. And the beauty of it is you can really find really specific topics. If there's something, for example, that I'm trying to do or improve in my life, I'll find the podcast relevant for that one thing at the time and have a listen. You can't get that level of granular kind of
Yeah, it's
information.
very granular. I think that's because
Yeah,
people can kind of go toward the granular thing they're looking for, right? Versus
yeah,
like there was this one size fits all. And we're kind of getting to
yeah,
the age. And one of the things like we were talking about AI is it allows you like a 3D printer at home. It's like people can become micro level entrepreneurs. Like the fact
yeah,
like this would have had to been done in a TV studio 10 years ago, like 15
yeah,
years ago.
yeah,
You'd
true.
have, in order to be able to have a conversation with somebody in Australia, I'd have to be on a TV studio with the satellite link up and all this stuff to be able to
Yeah,
really do it in real time at a good quality. Right, the
yeah,
transmission. Now we've got the tech with the internet speed is so high that we can have a live video contact connection with in a foreign country. So then you
yeah,
can actually have a conversation. You can do this micro level, and these tools today can help you push it out, do the workflow after, do the tags on it, get it, some automated function to like distribute it. There's just a lot of things that you can do it. Like one person can do the job of maybe 5 or 10 people
yeah.
because of this automation. And if you look at it that way, then it allows you to do it, right? It allows you to create something that you wouldn't have been able to create.
Mm, that's so true. And so because the one good thing, well, there's many good things, but one of the good things about AI is the sophistication in which it understands language and nuance and the topics which are being communicated. And it's only going to get better. So that real granular content is really going to surface to the right people at the right time that need the information that you share.
Mhm.
So that's the positive aspect of doing things like this. There might be specifics around what we're talking about today, and the AI platforms will soon figure out what it is exactly. When someone's searching for a need specific to that set of ideas, then it's likely to surface to them. So that's the power of where we're at right now, to share valuable information that helps to position you, and if it's a business, position your offers to the target market in which you serve, and whether that be local. Sometimes it's all about, it depends on the nature of the business, but it might be about showing up to the local region because realistically they're the only people that they could serve in the field that they work in. So
Mhm.
showing up to the right people at the right time in the right places. positioned precisely, aligned to who you are and what you do and your unique aspects. That's the beauty of where things are going with the technology. That's the advantage. Despite all the negatives that I mentioned earlier,
Yeah. Well, there's always
some good pluses.
it's kind of like
Yeah,
a yin and yang. I mean, with every new
yeah,
technology, there's the benefit and there's there's the thing that, or that's the bad thing about it, but there's a good thing about it. So like
yeah,
with tech, it always happens. Like when the first mainframes came, people were like, "Oh, this is a disaster for humanity." You know, like when the
yeah,
first synthesizer showed up, like a bunch of like classical musicians and like people who played like orchestral instruments were like, "This is terrible. This is like a destruction of music." Like, but they
yeah,
remember Robert.
yeah,
I'm a big fan of Moog, and Robert Moog was trying to show all these people from like Berkeley and these conservatories his early synths, and they were like horrified. Dude,
yeah,
like this is not. And now, the Moogs and electronic musician, instruments are considered to be instruments, just like with violins and things. I mean, it's just
yes,
they're considered to be instruments. When they first showed up, it's like no, there's a lot of hate. So anytime some new tech comes up, there is a lot of hate toward it,
yeah,
because like people don't get it, or it's like
yeah,
if you were the guy when the horse and buggy got replaced by the automobile, and you were feeding the horse and putting the horseshoes on, you probably weren't too happy about it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, you know,
It's
because
yeah,
you had to learn how
evolved
to
so
fix an
fast.
engine. You don't know how to fix an
Yeah,
engine.
yeah, yeah. New challenges, new levels, new devils. I heard someone say, just new things that new challenges when things change. It's interesting. I mean, certainly in the industry that I work in, it's always felt like it's evolved really fast. And I've always said if I stopped what I'm doing today and came back in a year or two's time, things would have moved so fast I wouldn't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, like a loose
But
jet.
that's
Yeah,
yeah, but I mean, it's that's even more insanely true the last couple of years, last 3 years probably, with things evolving so fast, and so it's meaning that we all need to keep flexible and dynamic. And I mean, most places in the world are having sort of a financial crisis of some degree, a cost of living crisis we're experiencing, and job layoffs, and it's just difficult
yeah. It's
economies.
a mass realignment. We're in this new age, and it's like the industrial age coming in from agrarian age. And then
Yeah,
suddenly there's all this like industrialization, the assembly line, like the cubicle,
yeah,
right? And now we're living in a world where, even a white collar engineer, a
yes,
programmer can be replaced by AI. Now,
yeah,
the programmer that goes and learns, machine language, that goes and learns, blockchain, that goes and learns the thing what you have to understand is I think a lot of people kind of like, well, I've got these acronyms against my name. I've got my degree and I've gotten
mm,
like 20 years of doing X. And then
mm,
suddenly the world changes and you need to do more than X. You have to do the
yeah,
new Z. You got to jump to Z and you don't know Z. And your whole resume
yeah,
is based on you having 20 years of knowing X. And now you've got
yeah.
to
It's
know
crazy.
you need 5 years of Z and you don't even have 1 month.
Yeah,
So that's kind of like oh well we kind of got to dive into, can I actually take the 20 years I had and apply it to this new thing, and then be confident enough to say, yeah, I could do that. And I've been in
yeah,
situations where I've had in tech where you have to sell yourself and you haven't done it, but you still get the
yeah,
job because you say, well, I could do it because my whole job is I learn new things all the time. That's my job.
yeah,
So if you can sell yourself that you're in that world where you can learn, you can reinvent the wheel, you can reprogram your mind, then
yeah.
you'll be okay.
Yeah, you've got to be creative, haven't you? You can't just be stagnant and think that yesterday's um, processes and goals and workflows are going to do the same. You've got to get creative and think about, hey, where is my industry and my world moving to, and how do I get on the front foot so I can be standing out in a space where it might get a little bit noisy, and it might become a little bit more difficult to get employment in, depending on the field in which you working, but there'll always be some people who do incredibly well and some people that don't. I think there's going to be that'll become even more exaggerated. Some people will do really well, some people won't, and so that's we all just need to start thinking about creative ways in which we can be on the front foot.
Yeah, I think the problem has been a lot of times our education has been kind of designed for you to work in the cube and to work on this.
Yeah.
And when the people who are on the bell curve on the outer edges of that, maybe neurodivergent or a little bit odd, a little bit different, they were kind of, artist mindset. They're like, yeah, I like to live there, right? So I'll be okay. But the person that wants to be on the assembly line, when the assembly line goes away and the cubicle goes away, what are you going to do? So it's like that's where society's going to have to kind of deal with the societal impact of that, because not everybody's going to ramp up, or we've got to actually take time to retrain people or find out what they could do. It's like maybe you now are a drone mechanic. Maybe you're a drone pilot. Yeah. Like maybe you're a maintenance guy in the automated McDonald's and you're actually maintaining the machines in there. I mean, there's whole new things you have to learn, and things that maybe you were suited to. You got to kind of, I'm a mechanic. I could work on robots. I probably could do that, but I was working on cars. You got to kind of ramp us. I would maybe learn this. And if the people would help them a little bit and get them their certifications or help them with their certifications, and maybe that's all the push we need for certain people is to get their certification that they are a certified robot mechanic. You're certified drone pilot. Instead of a truck driver. So it's a different kind of world. I mean, that's kind of where people have to have their imagination. To not say, well, it's like I'm on the outs. How can you get back on the in?
The divergent thinkers certainly might be the best people, get the best outcomes, thinking outside of the box, which it depends on it. Everyone's wired differently, but those that have the capacity to think outside the square, and they're in the best position right now to flourish and do really well. You need their ideas, but of course you need to take action as well. So combining the ideas and the pragmatic action is what it takes.
But I think that's what you do when you create a business. I mean, you have to be a risk taker, and then you have to kind of have a passion. And not everybody is that passionate. They kind of want, like, why rather, I'd rather feel safe. And safe in the 9 to 5 in the cubicle, 9 to 5 on the assembly line. But sometimes, like, there's a lot of discomfort in pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And sometimes the world kind of puts us in that place. World War II, there's a lot of probably people, they got pushed out of their comfort zone. They had to hit in Omaha Beach. That's not exactly the comfort zone, So sometimes that generation gets hit with a new task. Gets hit with a thing that's hard, and I think that's kind of like what's happening to our world right now is like we're all going to get hit with something that's kind of hard, and people are going to have to ramp up to it or need some help. Maybe there are people who will help other people, and your company's helping businesses trying to survive, right? You're going to give you a way to thrive because you got to get found. Like you're standing out is what you're doing. Like what we were talking about today is like how do you stand out? You got to work with somebody like yourself. if I had a way like, in this digital world, like if you don't know the digital world, talk to somebody that does, like Wes.
It's so difficult to try and do it all yourself. Even if you could do it well, for businesses, it takes people off the task in which they make money from.
That's not the wheelhouse.
So it's best to build a team around you of people who are exceptional at what they do and can help you get to where you need to do what you need to do. So that's what we're helping a lot of people do, and really enjoy it. So it's always good to start a business, and it's really great because I've been running my own business over 20 years now. It's really exciting sometimes when a brand new business comes on board, and so they've not done anything and they're completely naive to business, but they're just super excited and they've got something that they want to bring to market that they think is going to be a good thing. So super exciting to align with those people and to see them through the journey. Like, it can be really difficult in the early days because there's just not much income. You know, they've just got an idea and they're trying to get customers, but you can see where they're wanting to go. And I find those sorts of things really, those creative endeavors to start something fresh and new are really exciting and fulfilling to be a part of.
Well, it's awesome. Like when you're a part of somebody's evolution, you know, you're part of their actually what you can call it, like self-actualizing. Like if you're a music producer and you get this new artist and nobody knows who they are, but you know who they are, and you're there while they're creating the secret sauce. And like I know it's gonna work. I know it's gonna, but nobody else does. And like now we gotta get everybody thinking the way I think right now, right? The way what I'm feeling right now with this guy, with this band, with this lady. Yeah. Nobody else knows it, but I feel it.
Yeah.
You gotta get that same feeling and push it out to everybody else.
Yeah. That's so true. That's a good way of looking at it. It's like when you do find a band and no one's heard of it yet, or very few, and you just watch them in a little crusty old pub, you know, that stinks and it's not that great a pub, but and hardly anyone's there. But you found a gem. You found some sort of something that's really awesome, and you see them rise to the top and get famous and all that kind of stuff. You can say, "Oh, I saw them first."
Yeah, when you saw them, or you actually helped mold them so they got there. Like you're their engineer.
Yeah.
And you actually made it.
Oh, yeah, that's even better.
You actually got their sound so it was presentable and could kick it out. Like so, like you take their demo and you mold it so now it's suddenly, hey, that's like champagne. It's like you just blew it out. So that but that's what we love to do.
Yeah, for sure. To be the visionary and to come alongside people that haven't made it yet, but you can see the potential. That's really cool when people take that risk and join into something that will be significant.
Yeah, it's awesome. But I want to let people know we got your QR code here. Again, that's going to link to your uplift360.com.au. If people scan that with their phone and go to that site, is that how they actually connect to you, actually get an opportunity to have that conversation?
Sure, yeah, you can book meetings, strategy calls straight on that website, but also all the social platforms that you would typically see, they're on the website as well. You can connect with me as well.
That's awesome. So we do encourage people, take your phone, scan that. It'll go right to the website. If you don't like using that, you can wait till the show is over. We've been live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Kick, and you can click the link there within the podcast description. We'll be on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Newsletter after tomorrow, by tomorrow's time, U.S. time, and today. We'll be on those platforms. We'll have a landing page for the world to check out whatever platform they want. And I want to thank you for being on the show today. And have a great rest of your day. And it's like end of the night for us.
Yeah, thanks, Phantom. It's been awesome to be on the show and have a good conversation.
Thank you. Well, have a good day, rest of your day.
Cheers.